Today I'm going to be talking about I'm going to be going through Webinar 9, which are simple deployment patterns for UNTP. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different approach. We're going to do 3 different vignettes where we're going to talk about what a supplier might do in implementing UNTP, what a buyer might do, and what a conformity assessment body might do. Then we'll go into policy and standards and technology. And then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end, like we always do in these webinar sessions. So first, I want to kind of bring up the Pyx vision, which is to architect trust for a better world. As part of the webinar series, we do talk about what is the business impact, what are the policy and standards impact, what are the technology impacts. Because in order to create this vision of a future where people, businesses, and communities are most successful, because they're making the world better, you need to bring together each of those skills in this process. And the major tool we use to achieve that is the United Nations Transparency Protocol, and it's a protocol architected to simplify solving the complex challenges of trade. And in this session, we're really going to talk about these 4 core data elements, and really actually the 3 data elements, the digital product passport, the digital facility record, and the digital conformity credential, because those are the primary ones that a buyer might get from their supplier, a supplier might issue about their products or their facilities, and as the supplier is issuing those, they might want to add conformity credentials that increase the value of the elements that they're delivering. I showed this slide in the last webinar where we talked about the 2 sides of the business case for implementing UNTP. And really, the key thing is that in order for a protocol-based approach to work, suppliers have to share data with their buyers in a consistent, standardized way. Now, the good news is suppliers already share information with their buyers. And so the real case here is, what is the benefit of standardizing how that information is shared with their buyer? And we've kind of articulated a few here. I'm going to go into more detail on those as we go through the different vignettes. And so from the first vignette we're going to talk about is what a supplier might do with UNTP to share information about their products and why they might do that. So from a business benefit perspective, from a supplier side, the idea here is to publish what you're already doing and simplify the work for your customers. So make it easier for your customers to evaluate and validate and leverage the high quality production processes you have, the high quality products you're producing, and the high quality environmental sustainability and governance practices that you're already implementing. So the whole idea from a supplier perspective is to make it easier for your buyer to pick your products in a competitive and crowded marketplace. And the key way you would do that is through a digital facility record. So it's a standard way for you to share information about the production facilities that adds value to your products. A digital product passport, standard way to share data, any data that adds value to your products. And a digital traceability event is a standard way to share what you want about how your products are made. What are the source materials? What are the components? And all of this is optional. And so the benefits of doing this, and this is from the prior slide, is market access, so demonstrate compliance with market requirements. Now, we recognize you're probably already doing that because you're already accessing markets. But the key idea of UNTP is standardize and simplify that so it's easier and cheaper for you to do that from a demonstration perspective. And importantly, it's cheaper and easier for your customer to access that information so that you simplify your customer buying decisions. So access to granular product level sustainability data or facility level sustainability data provides key information needed for organizations to select supply, so that their year-on-year sustainability disclosures demonstrate a clear improving trend. So basically, if your customers are articulating, here's how I'm improving our sustainability results, then you providing high quality information to them makes their job easier. It simplifies and operationalizes your data publishing. You already produce data about your products. It tends to be in the form of marketing materials or websites or product spec sheets. This gives you a consistent digital machine readable version of that information that makes it easier for your customers to buy, and also easier for your organization to consistently publish information about your products and your facilities, so that you don't, when people are saying, hey, we've got this new program, you have a consistent place to put the information about that program that allows your customers to recognize you for doing that. And then the financial sector is increasingly rewarding strong sustainability credentials with improved terms for trade finance. So what I've done on this slide is, on the left-hand side, I've got the core ways, the things I had on the prior slide, but I did want to articulate where to start. So, and I kind of said this on the last slide, is just the place to start is to publish what you currently share publicly about your facility, products, and production processes. And we sort of think you should explore with your customers, and particularly those customers that value high quality data, to explore if there are any preferences that they can provide as a result of you providing higher quality information. So if you make their lives easier, if you make their selection process simpler, is there preferential treatment that you can realize? Is there preferential pricing or preferential payment terms? Those are things to explore with your customers as a result of providing this information. And that starts to build up the ROI. So, and then beyond that, you need to collaborate with your industry to address emerging requirements and develop a community activation plan to ensure consistency between not just the work that you're doing, but also the work that, so that your customers can get value across the ecosystem and your cost of meeting these requirements can decrease. And then in terms of the type of data in a DPP, I know this is a busy slide, but basically the digital product passport can have information about where the product was produced, your organization, the origin of raw materials, what kind of data is about this product, so the product information, claims about the product, so what kind of ESG criteria have you complied with, item-specific data like its serial number or batch number, traceability information about where you source the information, where it came from, that type of stuff. So all of this information is available to be included in a product passport. You can include as much or as little of that information as you'd like. Vignette number 2, so what the benefits to buyers might be. So following the same pattern, the idea for buyers is to standardize how you receive information on about the products you purchase. And so that's what we're seeing here. And the benefit of that is supply chain optimization. So getting higher quality information from your suppliers allows for informed selection of more sustainable and resilient supply options. Enhanced disclosure accuracy. You can make better disclosures about your sustainability to your board and the market and your stakeholders based on high quality information from your suppliers. Transparency in the supply chain enables you to manage your reputational risk, and particularly around risks associated with unsustainable supplier practices. And the financial sector is increasingly rewarding strong sustainability credentials, particularly as people are consistently disclosing how they're doing from a sustainability perspective and a resiliency perspective. And the key idea here from a buyer perspective is standardizing how you receive information about the products you purchase decreases your costs and increases your supply chain resilience and increases your ability to pick supply that meets your strategic demands. And in terms of adopting, the adoption is similar to what we said on the supplier side. But the other thing that we suggest, explore providing preferences to suppliers that provide high quality standardized information. And this gives you the opportunity to collaborate with suppliers who are going to decrease your costs over time, help you decrease costs over time. Now, vignette number 3, conformity assessment body. We'll talk a little bit about this one. I've kind of expanded out the value proposition to a conformity assessment body. It's not on that initial slide, but it is here. So from a conformity assessment body, you can enhance the value of your assessment. So you can make it easier for your customers to realize the value of your assessment. So a conformity assessment body is a third-party validation of the testing. A conformity assessment body provides a third-party attestation of the conformity of a production process or a product against a standard. And so the certificate associated with a conformity assessment body is the proof that a conformity assessment body's customer uses to demonstrate their compliance with the standard. And so what a conformity assessment body can do with UNTP is make that attestation more digitally relevant and verifiable. And so by making it more digitally relevant and verifiable, it's easier for your customers to realize the value of the assessment. So to get a return on investment from the assessment process that you charge them for. You can protect against counterfeit assessments. So by leveraging the W3C standards-based approach to publishing your assessment that's articulated in UNTP, people can't counterfeit the DCC issued by you. And you can improve the level of detail that you provide about the assessment. So by leveraging a sustainability vocabulary catalog, you can help your assessment link directly to product claims or facility claims made by your customers so that they can prove that they've been assessed against the claims they're making in their product passports to their customers. You also can instantly revoke the conformity credential. So, and that is discoverable by anybody downstream who's checking that credential, and it's automated. It's automatic. So UNTP compliant DCCs can be revoked, so you can ensure only organizations that pass your assessment can realize the benefit. And then the financial advantage is this is a low-cost way to improve the value of your assessment and attestations. And so the key idea here is just to take your current conformity publishing process and standardize it using UNTP. On the sustainability vocabulary catalog, these are typically owned and managed by the conformity scheme owner. And this allows you to enhance how your customers use your assessment. From a regulatory perspective, the key idea here is that there's increasing regulatory expectations, increasing buyer expectations, increasing cost of compliance. There's audit fatigue. People are struggling to respond to changing economic conditions like tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, increased regulatory oversight, et cetera. Consumer and community expectations are getting higher and harder to meet. Employee and stakeholder expectations are getting harder to meet, and we're getting increased board and regulatory oversight. With all of these challenges, what businesses need is a standardized way to respond, and that's really what UNTP provides. And then we're going to do a quick demo on how we do it. So what we're going to show in this session is a little bit of tech. So what we're going to see today is this tests UNTP with same stack we used when we did our demo in the last webinar. test UNTP. It's designed to test interoperability. What's included are all of these components. I went through that in more detail in the last one. And what I'll see today is this idea: we're going to issue a conformity credential from a conformity assessment body. We're going to issue data about products and facilities, and then we're going to discover information about that product, including the digital conformity credential from the buyer side. So we're just going to go through that process in our reference implementation. So we're going to go check out the reference implementation. So here we go. So what we're going to do first, like we said on the prior slide, is issue a digital conformity credential. And going to go down here. So these are all of the different elements that you can do in a digital conformity credential. In a future webinar, we're going to talk about how we can modify this form so that you can create a digital conformity credential with any requirements that you might have in your conformity assessment process. But I'm just going to hit the default button, and action was successful. Great. I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint. Oops. And click on our DCC. I'm also going to copy that link, I thought. And this is the digital conformity credential that we just looked at. Now, let's see, I want to copy this URL. So just to show you this again, that URL is what brings you to this credential. And then I'm going to go into the reference implementation again, and I'm going to attach that. I'm going to attach that conformity credential to the digital product passport that I'm issuing. So if I go in here, these are all of the elements of the digital product passport, and we can see all of these things. And in the conformity claim, we need to add evidence about about how we met this conformity claim. So if we expand this out, we can see the elements and the reference standard, the issuing party, and the reference regulation administered by, and the assessment criteria, and then declared. And the key thing here is the conformity evidence. So I'm going to put that digital product passport that we got and saw over here, or sorry, the digital conformity credential we saw here as the evidence for my compliance with this greenhouse gas declaration. I'm going to issue my DPP. And if I go back to my presentation, oops, let me make that bigger. And I look at my DPP, we can see our DPP, and we can look at the evidence about our greenhouse gas, click on that, and see that life cycle assessment, carbon life cycle assessment conformity credential that we issued before. And basically, this product passport is discoverable from the identifier of that product passport, and that links you to a URL and gets you out and gets you the ability to discover that information. So if we go back here, what we've seen is finding information based on the product identifier, linking to the product passport, and linking back to the digital conformity credential that was assessed by the conformity assessment body. And with that, I'm going to open it up for any questions and answers.
Thanks, Zach. Super helpful and informative. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. We appreciate everyone's time and engagement. If you'd like to continue the conversation, access additional resources, or connect with peers, please visit our community at chat.pyx.io. We look forward to seeing you at our webinar next month. We'll be announcing the date and subject for our November webinar shortly. Until then, thank you for your commitment to building trust and transparency in the supply chain. Thank you. Until next time.